struggling to come to grips with reality. Confusion and chaos have become part of me. I seek answers to know where my liberation lies. Only in peace and calmness does that clarity arise. Transmissions of wisdom bring me insights of reason. Let my mind expand to the higher states. My mortality is no longer at stake. Let me hear the wisdom transmissions. The wisdom transmissions. So many voices, so many interpretations. No answers given, only outer temptations. Where can I find that truth inside of me? Realization of what I am is all I'm wanting to see. Transmissions of wisdom bring me insights of reason. Let my mind expand to the higher states. My mortality is no longer at stake. Let me hear the wisdom transmissions. The wisdom transmissions. No more redirection, ending the contemplation. Forget fighting reflection. Outer world's a projection. Internal is the cause, external's an effect, put it on pause. I'm silencing the noise, centering, entering void. Truth is beautifully subtle, the voice without a voice. Heart and mind shall settle, making decisions now, escaping illusions of choice. Transmissions of wisdom bring me insights of reason. Let my mind expand to the higher states. My mortality is no longer at stake. Let me hear the wisdom transmission. The wisdom transmissions.
Okay, can you guys hear us now? Okay, you should be able to hear us now because there's
All right. Oh.
there's grain. Anyways, I was gonna say, Breanne, how's it going? How's your readings going?
Hello, everybody. Yes, so excited to be back. Things have been going fantastic. It's been busy. We've both been keeping busy here, so we're excited for another live reading with you guys.
Yes, and like I said, usually I don't do the sessions here on Thursday. I just had some stuff going down yesterday that I wasn't able to do a webcast live yesterday, but there are some announcements that we're going to do first and foremost. So next week, we're going to be starting with a new change of the name of the webcast. It's going to be called the Ancient Numbers Webcast starting next week. And I'm going to have my software here of Ancient Numbers, what's known as the Anoint system. So that stands for Ancient Numbers Oracle Intelligence Network Technology. That's why we call it Anoint for short. Or you can either just refer to it as the Oracle. So it has a lot of my knowledge in it. It has a lot of the knowledge of the ancient sciences within it. There's about, I think, well over 24 different types of styles of ancient science that it is able to accumulate as we look into readings. So basically I'll have like my MacBook here on the table. It's going to be talking about certain things as well too, as we mention about certain types of readings that we look at generally. And starting next week as well too, I'll be offering Anoint readings on wisdom transmissions. So that'll be the next thing that I'll be talking about here as we go into the announcements. So on wisdomtransmissions.com, if you do want to book an Anoint session, so that is where you can either talk to the Anoint system live, or we can do kind of like a pre-arrangement where I'm getting a lot of your details out first and foremost, depending on the type of private session that you do. Because as you look at the private live sessions, we have 30, 45, and 60-minute sessions. We also have group private sessions as well too. So basically, the Anoint system will be available through Wisdom Transmissions services. Okay, so it'll be available through both private live sessions and through questions, 3 questions by email. So just these 2. Okay, none of these ones, but just these 2. If you do want to have sessions through the Anoint system, which we're going to debut next week with the brand new name, the Anoint, that's what the Ancient Numbers webcast, that is coming together. I am currently working on building the website right now, and it is going to be launching officially on June 28th. So June 28th is going to be its rollout date. Also on June 28th, we're going to be doing a crowdfunding campaign for the brand new Breath Guru app. Okay, so I was talking I think a couple weeks ago just about the Breath Guru app, and what we're doing is we're putting the entire trauma transcendence technique, all of its techniques, all of its exercises, even a guided meditation with TTT that will be free on that particular app. Okay, there's going to be a lot more stuff coming on the app as well too, guided meditations, visuals, and so forth, breath work, pranayama. So there'll be a free plan and there'll be a premium plan as well too. But the trauma transcendence technique and all of its features will be available through the free plan on Breath Guru. Okay, so I'll be doing a crowdfunding campaign just like I did for Radiate last year. I did a crowdfunding campaign that helped us to pay for the Radiate browser app, which was really helpful. The mobile app I basically had to pay out of my own pocket, so that was something. But thanks to your guys' help, we were able to get the Radiate browser app up and running. So this year, we're now working together with the Breath Guru app. That's going to be, like I said, debuting on June 28th on the same day, and there's going to be a campaign for that at the same time. So we're debuting Ancient Numbers, and we're debuting Breath Guru, and they're going to be working together. So it's going to be really cool. Yeah. All right, so hopefully the sound is okay, guys. I'm just going to go ahead and turn up the volume a little bit more, just so you can hear me okay better. Just try and crank up your speakers. I know sometimes it's difficult. I just have a microphone here on my camera, so hopefully you guys can hear us okay. All right, so just a little bit more announcements here. We're looking at AetherX right now. Everything right now on AetherX is 30% off. I need to make that update. It's 30% off right now. These are the print-on-demand products, so they have free shipping to them. So once you look at the price, the shipping is included, and they will send it to you. So we have Safeguard Universal Car Seat Covers. We have Earthing Safeguard Front Row Car Mats. So these are some of our new products that are coming together. We also have apparel. And of course, we have the Prana Bed Kits. I'm getting quite a few good testimonials from people who are going back into the version 2 of the Prana Bed Kits, and they're getting some incredible healing effects on the Prana Bed Kits. So that is available for ordering on AetherX.co. So you can check that out. And of course, Breanne has her website here, Readings with Breanne. And of course, as you scroll down, if you're a new member, you can get 10% off the coupon code WELCOME10. And your tarot's been going good?
Yes, and I also have 15% off if you guys want to check that out. That's available for the next 24 hours. So I have tarot readings, crystal grid sessions, Reiki. So come on over.
Okay. Is there a coupon code, or is it?
No, it's all included in there. So when you shop readings there, you can get the discount right when you check out.
Okay, great, excellent. All right, so let's go ahead now and we'll get to your guys' questions, because we are getting some donation-based questions already. So donation-based questions are always answered first, and then we'll look into the other questions that are there. So let's go ahead and get things rolling. Go ahead and close that off. There we go. And let's get started. All right, so we have the first question here from Thomas. Thomas says, hi, I've been single since I started my awakening and working on my healing and expanding 9 years ago. I'm wondering if there is a relationship in store for me in the near future, or if supposed to continue to stay single. Okay, so we can take a look at that. That's not a problem. Let me just go ahead and shift to the other camera here. There we go. All right. So we can go ahead and we can take a look at that.
All right.
So staying single. So in my own perspective, in that sense, nothing is ever supposed to, right? You have the ability to plan out what you want to do. So if you want to decide to get into a relationship, you can, but you have to align yourself to that. You have to understand that what you are is a walking broadcasting station, right? You're like this gigantic broadcasting tower. You're able to align yourself into different frequencies, which means, do you want to stay single? If you do, then you will. Do you want to get involved in a relationship? If you do, you have to go into calibration. You calibrate yourself, and then a partner will show up, right? Really, it's not so complicated as people think, right? It's just a matter of saying that we need to get ourselves into our own inner state. We need to get into that subtle state of peace. And we're just putting that intention out, which means when you're working with meditation, firstly, you do your breath work, right? I would say even firstly, just try and ground yourself, right? So just putting your feet on the floor, maybe do horse stance or do sky anchor stance. Okay, sky anchor stance is kind of like the lighter version of the horse stance, where you're just kind of bending your knees a little bit and you're anchoring yourself to earth energy. That's helping you to ground. Okay, when we do that, then we go into pranayama. So we're doing the rachaka, where you're breathing in for 4 seconds through the nose, you're breathing out for 8 seconds out through the nose. 4 and 8, 4 and 8, right? You keep doing that so that you have the signs that you're going into the subtle state of being. Number 1, your eyes are dilated. Number 2, there's a saliva production within your mouth, increased saliva production in your mouth, okay? Number 3, your breath feels a lot more tranquil, a little more shallow, but it has like a smoothness to it, right? There's a smoothness to your breath. These are the 3 signs that you can work with to helping you getting into your relaxed, subtle state of being. Once you are in there, start working again with your breath so that you can hold your breath for a significant amount of time. As you hold your breath for about maybe 15, 20 seconds, hold your intention there, right? So as you breathe, state your intention. As you inhale, state your intention, hold your breath, and then just hold that intention with no thought, right? You've already stated your intention as you inhale, right? I want to build up a strong relationship, hold. And then for about that 20 to 30 seconds, release nice and easy. And as you're releasing the intent. So as we inhale, you build up the intention, you charge up the intention. As you slowly inhale and take your time, don't feel like you have to do it like in 2 seconds, right? It's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and hold as long as you can. And then afterwards, let it out. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? So basically bringing in for 6, breathing in for 6, holding for as long as you can, and then breathing out for 8. Okay? Once you do that, you only need to do that 1 time. Okay? After that, if you want to do breath work, then just do breath work. But you're charging your intention as you inhale, and you're holding that intention as you retain your breath, and then you let it out. Right? And as soon as you let it out, you've let it go, and now you're letting spirit take care of the rest. And now as you go throughout your daily life, you start meeting people, right? There's that intention, there's that impulse for you to go out and start meeting people, to talk to people. You'll just have the intention to do it. It's like that impulse, right? That's all there is to it. There's nothing to this. Do not think that your life is predetermined and thinking, I'm meant to be single for the rest of my life. That is just illusion. That's your own beliefs talking. And that's not what you can be. Like I said, it's not about the idea of thinking that you're so rigid that you have absolutely no choice to be here, right? That's, again, a product of a weak mind. You certainly have the ability to get involved in a relationship. If you do decide to be single and you want to stay that way, you can, right? There's nothing that says you can or can't. You just have to decide your path. Now, again, milestones will be in our life that we need to meet, But altogether, like I said, you have the ability to choose whatever it is that you wish to do. Okay. So, hon, what did you get for his reading?
I think that was so perfect, because when I look at this energy here, I feel like so much rigid energy, as Brad was saying, with that Emperor. And I don't want you to feel like just because you're on a spiritual path means that you're destined not to be with anyone. It ultimately really is up to you. There is energy here to support. Yes, there is a celebration. There is coming together with that Four of Wands, but it's really you connecting to your heart and determining what it is that you want, and not thinking that you have to be single in order to follow a spiritual path either, because I'm just seeing a lot of self-sabotage and your own kind of belief and restrictions that you're holding on to here. So just being able to, again, do those practices as Brad recommended, and you'll be able to move forward and absolutely get into a relationship if that's something you're looking to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I said, there are certain things that we have to look into. When you're in a relationship, it's a mirror for you, right? It's a living mirror. Like Bree's a living mirror for me, and vice versa, right? We basically feedback off each other. That's what it takes to go into a relationship. And what you also don't want to do is don't bring your past relationships into your present ones, right?
Yeah.
Heal them. So you're going to work with that. So that's why we got TTT. So that's exactly what I'm saying here. Because there's the idea of her with the swords. There's the idea with the devil there as well, too. That's telling me you've been hurt in the past. Maybe that's why you've decided to stay single. You don't want to be hurt again, right? So this is why we want to work with something like TTT, Trauma Transcendence Technique. Start clearing a lot of that stuff out. Don't bring your past into your present. We got to heal it. Guys, there's nothing special about having to heal your past. All it is that you recognize it, you see it for what it is, you Om chant it, you give it to spirit, and it's done. It's so simple, right? And Brad keeps saying that, it's simple and it's easy. I'm like, guys, it is. It's the easiest thing to do. The hard part you have is letting yourself do it, right? You have to understand that if we're looking at your divine temple right here, you're standing by the gate. You're the one with that big gigantic spear, and you're preventing your lower self from going into that temple. You're the one who's basically keeping yourself out of it. That divine temple that has everything, that is your true expansiveness, that is your divine intelligence that can bring everything to you, it's being guarded at the gate by yourself, right? It's like your own ego is guarding the gate. You have to let yourself in, right? So that's why I work with a lot of people to say, okay, you need to take that down. You need to take down that barrier. You need to take down that belief that tells you this is what it is. Because this whole world is just filled with insecurity. It's filled with insecurity. It's filled with beliefs. Why? Because we've forgotten who we are, and we have forgotten what we are capable of. All of that's been forgotten. It's basically trying to be bred out of us. Distract yourself with television, with entertainment. Distract yourself with books, and distract yourself with meaningless chatter on YouTube with more experts that are just putting you into more circles than trying to give you clarity.
Yeah.
Right? So you want to be aware of that. We're just forgetting what we're capable of. And there's my channel here. I know there's probably a few other channels you can connect with as well too that are getting people to help you remember who the heck you are. You want to do that. So whether it's starting a new relationship or not, or being single, that's up to you. But like I said, you have the ability to do this. And this is why people have such a hard time with this, because we're trying to literally be bred out of feeling like we have any power whatsoever. Religion does that, government does that, money does that, your 9-to-5 job does that, your routine every day does that. When do you make enough time for yourself? Is that even on your priority list? Because if it's not, then you're going to basically struggle. I can guarantee you, if you still follow the whole idea of this old garbage that relates to people not knowing who they are and following a routine and distracting yourself constantly, you're not going to be able to move yourself into where you want to go. Because I'm trying to teach you guys, this is how you do it. And it's so simple and it's so easy. But you got to give yourself the forefront here. So please keep that in mind. Okay? Thank you again for your question. All right, let's go down now to Scott. Scott has a question here. What does the personal and spiritual coaching movement look like moving forward? I'm considering building this personally. 23 years into spirituality. Okay, thank you, Scott. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. I mean, it's growing. Many people, here's the thing. The people that need this are many, but the people who are actually really good at doing this work are the few, okay? It's not so much about running and grabbing a certificate, and like if you've been doing it for 23 years, then you have a lot of good experience, that's great. But there's a lot of these people who are anxious and just want to basically get this kind of, I would call it fast food knowledge, right? And you need to kind of cut away from that. It's good for you to explore and look into the ancient sciences. It's good for you to look into numerology. It's good for you to look into astrology. It's good for you to look into feng shui, to look into all these different ancient systems that are basically the bread and the butter that's going to help you to work together in helping people further, right? Because a lot of the common life coaches that I get, or spiritual coaches in that sense, a lot of their stuff that they offer with assistance is regurgitated nonsense, right? And you got to get out of that. You want to get out of the surface-based idea and the surface-based mentality of that. So what I'm seeing here in the Akasha is that there's a need for it, right? But the problem is that, and I'm not saying that this is for you, but what I'm seeing is for quite a lot of other people in that sense is that they need to spend more time with their craft, right? It's kind of like you have to learn to sharpen your blade, and so many of us basically blunt our blades, and we need to learn to sharpen them, which means you need to go into depth a little bit more. You want to see exactly why the person that you're helping is the way that they are, right? We're not just talking about psychology. We're looking into their soul codes. We're looking into their spiritual codes in that way. Now, with me putting together ancient numbers, that's basically what I'm doing. It's not replacing psychics or mediums in that sense, because it's not a psychic system. It's not a medium system or anything. It's not a tarot system, right? But what it does is it works with patterns. It says algorithms and it says patterns, and then it's working together with my intuition, or working together with whoever is working with it, with their intuition as well too, right? So it's an ancient system that works together with the patterns that gives you these things. It's not a prediction system. That's the thing about Anoint, right? It detects patterns to find out exactly where the collective consciousness is going. It's very, very different from what people may think the Anoint system is. It's not here to predict. It's not here to give psychic perspective. We want to keep those psychics and mediums around, right? Anoint's not replacing you in any way with that, okay? This is all about pattern. This is all about divination. That's what it does. It looks at cycles. And then it says this is exactly what's coming together with these cycles based on a person, place, event, or thing. Either it's a personal reading or it's a general reading, whatever it may be. So that's going to be a very helpful system. And everybody can use it, of course, because it'll be available on the Ancient Numbers website when it's ready on the 28th of June. Okay, but for you, like I said, the personal spiritual movement, looking like moving forward, a lot of people are going to want that. That's going to be in the times ahead, because everybody's just angry, everybody's just upset, everybody's furious, right? Because they've forgotten their power. They rely on the outer world and thinking that the outer world is going to pat them on the head, give them a cookie, and thinking that that is exactly what they're going to do to get ahead in life, when it has to be through yourself. So, Scott, we need people like you, right? There is a demand for that, a heavy demand, right? You got millions and millions of people on this planet that are so lost and have completely forgotten their way, and the workers are few. The good workers are few. And Scott, when I'm looking at your energy, I know you're going to be a very good worker, right? We need those good workers. So is it going to be very strong, the movement? Is it going to move forward very strongly? Yes, absolutely, right? But let's get the good workers in there. Let's look deeper into it ourselves, not just looking into surface-based stuff. Help a person reconnect with their soul. That's where you want to go, okay? How about you?
Yeah, no, that was really amazing what you said too, and I think that this is a great alignment for you. I think this is really gonna work out for you. Absolutely, I have a lot of really good energy here. I think the recommendation I would say as well is when I see the Seven of Cups too, it feels like having your hands in a bunch of different things, where I really, when Brad was saying to really dive deep into something very specific, like, you know, the ancient sciences or something very particular, kind of more going deep in those topics, because I feel like this is just having your hands in surface level things, right? So I really see this as being successful. You're going to help a lot of people with this. There's absolutely a demand for it, but I would just say to get more specific with what it is that you want to absolutely like teach and dive into, instead of like being in 5 different categories or 7 different categories. Just start with something very specific. and go from there. And that will expand as you move forward, but it looks like it's going to be very successful. We have that teaching energy and a wish fulfillment, and I think you're going to help a lot of people break their walls down and really discover who they truly are.
Yeah, and I think that's also a wall break for yourself too.
Yeah.
Right? So basically, in that sense, I think you have a certain idea of what you want to explore, which is good, but you want to break down these walls. And this is something that's not just for you, it's for everybody, right? People that are watching this right now, where you're not too sure about what to do, right? And you want to basically help people out so much. And I keep saying the first thing you have to do is help yourself. Okay, you got to work on yourself. You got to clean yourself up. We can't have dirty workers. We can't have wounded healers going out and trying to help the wounded. It's like Jesus said, that is the blind leading the blind. Do not feel like you are wounded and you have to go out and try to help other wounded people. You're hurt. You're wounded. You don't have that experience about how you've healed your wounds, which means you're not really being a very effective teacher or guide or helper to that other person or people, right? And I say this to people all the time, and people come to me and say, Brad, I want to do so much, I want to help. I said, oh, how are you doing with yourself? I haven't done anything with myself. Well, that's why you need to start. You got to stop looking out here, okay? And here's the thing, and this is not to bust people's balls. The world doesn't need you to save it, okay? And people don't need you to save them. I've never saved anybody doing this work for 17 years, right? It's all about the idea that as I start to work within myself, and even in times to where I did work with myself, I saw how there are reflections of people coming in, giving me reminders of things that I need to go deeper in to heal. And that's great, because that's the living mirror. But at the same time, you want to look at yourself, which means give yourself, I would say, 3 days. Work for 3 days where it's just focused on yourself. Maybe it's a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday. And take those 3 days to take a notebook and start writing down all these things pertaining to your past relationships, okay? How's your relationship with your mom? How's your relationship with your dad? How's your relationship with extended family, your siblings, your aunt, your uncle, your grandchildren, or your grandparents, whatever it may be, right? Look into your inner circle. And if you're noticing that there's been a lot of problems there, that's why you have the notebook. You start writing these things down. As you start writing these things down, you start taking trauma transcendence technique and you start learning how to work with the LET practice, right? The log line, the emotions, the trauma, and then of course working with the drill down. And then you start cleaning all this up. Your inner circle now gets cleared, and now you once had a very, very belligerent and hostile family circle that's now been cleaned. Nobody argues with you anymore. It's like, Brad, I don't know what happened. It's like I started doing this. There's no more fighting over the phone. There's no more squabbling or everything. Everybody feels like they're just at peace of mind. It's all so peaceful. I said, because you did it. You made it happen. There is no outside, really, right? Everything there is just a mirror. If you think that you have to go outside to solve your problems, you're walking backwards. It has to start within here. This is how it made me feel. This is how I've perceived these events. I saw things that made me angry, sad, and fearful. I saw things with traumas that caused me to feel abandoned, rejected, abused, and wanting to escape. I looked into my desires as well too, because my desires are just crutches, and I help to clear them out at the same time, right? So as they start to clear, because you're giving yourself those 3 days, you're going to feel amazing, and that's all I'm asking out of you. Give yourself 3 days. Take some time off work. Take some time away from the family. Go to a cabin. Right? Go to a cottage. Take your notebook. Take your laptop. Right? Watch the videos on trauma transcendence technique. Get my book. Okay? Start working together with that. And you give yourself those 3 days, I can tell you that's the push that you need. That's going to make the difference altogether. So please keep that in mind. And like I said, this is not just for Scott. This is for everybody. Okay? So Scott, thank you again for your question. All right, so let's move on. I think we got one more. Yeah, we do. Okay, we got one more donation-based question here. This one is from CJ. Hi, Brad and Breanne. I would like to ask for guidance regarding the path I would like to take. What are the guides' advice for me this time? So we usually like a little specificity, but I'll work with you first, and then Breanne can follow up. Okay, so guidance regarding the path you would like to take. How are you feeling with music and entertainment? How are you feeling with the idea, maybe it's dance, maybe it's music, maybe it's working with the instruments, maybe it's getting into the entertainment business in that way? Because I kind of get that feeling. I feel like you have that charismatic personality to you. I think you have that feeling of making people feel good around you as well too. I feel like it could be expressed quite heavily in regards to like dance or music, or anything in regards to pertaining to art form, right? Moving yourself forward as an artist. So if that's music, if that's dance, if that's writing, if it's traveling, okay, great. These are things I think that could work very, very well for you. But basically, and it's really more so on the idea of that heal your heart because your heart is broken right now. You got hurt a lot. You got hurt a lot. Feels like you have to kind of take out the knives, right? I feel like there's been people who have let you down, and I feel like you need to take some time to heal your heart and start bouncing back, start rebalancing your life, right? But what I feel is like there may be something with entertainment here, media, entertainment, artistry, right? And it's just about following that. But take some time to heal this because I can feel like there's a lot of shards there. There's a lot of shattering. Okay, so take some time to look into that. Breanne, how about you?
Yeah, I love how when you explain your question or your answers, the tarot always matches up so nicely. So it's kind of interesting because we have that Three of Cups in the middle, and we have these ladies that are just having fun. They're dancing. They're having a good time. I absolutely would agree with you being in some kind of entertainment as well. But there's something about you working with communities too. So I have a lot here with you coming together, kind of just
There's
being
a
of
lot of
service
money,
here.
a
There's
lot
a
of money.
lot, yeah, there's a lot
Oh,
of
these pentacles
pentacles.
here.
Like, look at this is really nice. So
Yep.
you can absolutely make, a lifelong successful career in a couple different avenues, but it's really connecting here. I feel like you could be a great networker with your charismatic energy. But again, there is that Five of Cups in the situation. So like Brad was saying, there's some stuff that needs to be healed, and that could have been from a past relationship with that Devil coming up in the past. But it's like letting those, surrendering to those old identities, and you're going to be moving into something really beautiful here. So there's lots of options on the horizon for you here.
Good. Yeah. So like I said, with a lot of pentacles there,
Yeah.
that's telling me I think you're going to be doing really well financially, right? But it's the idea, like I said, of following your heart path. Okay.
Yeah.
But you got to heal your wounds, especially when we're looking here, right? We got some hurt in the past. You need to clear that out, right? So TTT.
Yeah.
Grab a notebook, write some things down. Like I said, my friends, start from the beginning, right? Don't just go into the middle of your path. Here's what happened when I was 16 years old. Okay, that's good. Did nothing else happen 16 years prior? Okay. You got to start from the beginning. You don't start in the middle of your life. Because what you're doing is you're overlooking all these other things that have happened when you were younger that are interceding over these situations that you're trying to manifest, but you're having a hard time because, like I said, you're blocking yourself. Spirit doesn't block you, okay? The outer world doesn't block you. The outer world is only reflecting about the ripples that you're putting out altogether, right? So it's a matter of start from the beginning. How's my relationship with my mom? Everybody, your first wound starts with your mother. Okay, 9 times out of 10. How about your relationship with your dad? Okay, if your dad is in the picture, it could be single moms raising kids. Okay, maybe you never knew your father, but that also left a wound in you. You didn't know your real dad. That's something that needs to be looked at. That hurts you. Okay, then if you have siblings, you got to look into them. Your extended family, your aunts, your uncles, your grandparents. Okay. Then as you get older, okay, then I have a partner, then I start getting married, and then I have kids and so forth. And that's midlife, which means that's not important right now. Okay? You need to put that aside. You need to start from the beginning. Everybody needs to start from the beginning. Heal your heart. Work with your mom first. She should be the very first person on your list. Okay? Great. And so yeah, like I said, keep working with yourself. Like I said, I feel like an entertainment work is really, really good for you. You have a lot of abundance coming forward there. That's a lot of money energy right there. So there you go.
And with that King of Pentacles too, and the Ten of Pentacles, that is really relating to family and clearing out that family trauma. So that could be a lot relating to the father figure too.
Yeah, he replied too. Thanks, Brad. Okay, great. Excellent. Let's go to Solstice next. Solstice says, hi, Brad. Adronis, any update on the system program? Now, for those of you who don't know what that means, is when Adronis was talking about the system, right? About the whole idea of the system being torn down in time. But unfortunately, Solstice, the system is going to be happening for quite a long time, okay? It's not something that's going to be torn down right away. The system, like I said, it's like when I talk to a person about their own advancement spiritually, and they're genuinely holding themselves back because they are unwilling to look into the problems that they're facing that helps them with their liberation. It's like when I try to talk to people about these very, very simple things, there's this on-guard system that takes place. And Adronis was talking about this I think it was a few months ago. He basically refers to it as the system. We can call it the matrix, we can call it the simulation, whatever you want to term it. The system program, the matrix, the simulation, etc. Well, it basically has a design to it, right? And it is very, very artificial. But it is something that has basically stretched its veins across the entire Earth. The system here on this planet would be very intricate, more than other systems on other worlds altogether. Now here's something I forgot to mention to everybody. I had an interview with Dr. Michael Sala last week. So this Monday, his interview with me is coming onto his channel. So once that's ready, then I'll share with you, because I reveal a lot of stuff, and some of it is about what I'm talking about right now. A lot of our federations, right? When we look at alliances, because we're going to get back to your system program here in a minute. A lot of the federations and organizations that represent interstellar connections are all throughout the entire outer rim of the galaxy. Okay, anything that represents these star federations, these confederations of planets and so forth, they are agencies that are part of the outer rim of this galaxy. Some of them can even extend to other galaxies at the same time. But as you go much more deeper into the galaxy, there's none of that. There's unity consciousness. What does that mean? Where the Earth is right now, we're on the fringe. Okay? The Earth is in the state of a fringe, outer edge star system. Okay? And there's a lot of worlds that are still learning how to move into unity consciousness, which means if you're still battling the state of unity consciousness, it's quite common that within the galaxy that you choose, you're going to go into the fringe. You're going to go into the outer galaxy, okay? Because there's not as much light. If you look at the galaxy itself, you see all this light right around the center, and it goes kind of close to about 75 to 80% of it encompassing the galaxy. Well, there's about that 15 to 20% that's not, and that's the outer edge of the galaxy. That's where you find a lot of these alliances. That's where you find these star federations, these confederations. They're working together as helpers to bring people into the light, to move much more closer to the core of the galaxy, right? It's kind of like we're moving into the inertia plane because we're in the emotional plane through these outer systems that are taking place. When you go into the outer edges of these star systems, this is where anything goes. It's kind of like the Wild Wild West, right? You can go out there and there's a lot more fringe-based understandings that are taking place. And that's why these systems are out here. These systems are on the outer edge of the galaxy because they are actually maintaining a type of empire. It's kind of like if you're going into the dark, seedy areas of the jungle where it's very unpleasant. There's a lot of rotting trees and there's a whole bunch of creepy crawlers there as well too. But there's other areas of the jungle that are just so pristine and so beautiful. There is an absence of that. Okay, so you have to kind of look at it as a jungle. And then there's the outer side of the jungle that's very creepy. It's very, very much caught in darkness. A lot of things are rotting. Okay, that's the outer edge of a galaxy. So the outer edge of the galaxy is, again, symbiotically aligned geometrically with what we're going through in attempting to advance ourselves, right? A lot of the people here on this planet are lost. And they're lost because they've forgotten the ancient ways. And so we'll have helpers coming in, offering voluntary service to these people as they break apart from the system, as we talked about here, right? So there's these teachers that will come together. These teachers come in voluntarily, which means they are karmically immune to the things happening here. One sec. I start going deeper and I start getting throat trouble. That happens by design by times. Okay, so then they come in. So you have your Buddhas, you have your Christ, you have your Krishnas. Whew, I'm getting pretty. You have all of your great masters that are coming onto this planet, and they're helping people to uplift themselves. You could say maybe I'm one of those people as well too, because I'm looking into the ancient systems, I'm looking into the ancient ways. Everything that I do has also been involving just cleaning myself up. I didn't have anybody to come and clean me up, right? The closest person was Adronis. right? But my dedication to wanting to get well was more important than anything else. Now that I've done that, I'm getting into other things, right? So working together with the system busting comes through these great masters. These great masters come upon the planet and they leave their imprint on the planet for many people to pursue. Now, those people that are remaining with this master's imprint, are they going to be as good as they are? No, not even close. But they're getting the seeds for many generations if they continue to follow the imprint of the masters to break down the systems that what we have here right now. And that's what's happening. We have many thousands of generations of different masters over thousands of years where the seeds have now started to be implanted. And the common man, woman, and child will now have that instinct to want to break apart from an old system and let a new system come together that's much more complementary for human evolution and spiritual evolution. Okay? So when you're looking at the nature of the system program, it's not that it's all being broken down right away. You will know when it's broken down. You will know when that system falls, because there's so much more of an enlightenment that's happening upon the planet, which means there's good tidings, there's people that are in those illuminating, enlightening moods, and there's just complete and total support for everybody. Right now, we're not there, okay? We're just starting to see that these seeds are starting to sprout, and that they are, it's kind of like looking at the highway where you see like those broken areas of concrete because nature's coming out of it. Like you have like dandelion roots coming out of it and so forth. Well, that's what's happening. These particular seeds have been planted by great masters over thousands of years are breaking the concrete of the system. And at a particular point, as it evolves, that concrete's not going to be there anymore. It's just going to be broken apart altogether because new organic systems are coming together because people are now letting their conscience lead them, right? So that's what's happening. When we look at the system program, yes, there's a system. There's a glass ceiling in regards to what you can do on this planet, and that represents the system altogether. So again, I'm not too sure if that's what you're asking for pertaining to the system program, but the system program is just all part of a control system. And like I said, the control system right now is at a point of rupture. Okay, it's not completely taken down yet. It will, but not yet. Okay, and that takes a couple of generations for that to happen. So this is why we say it's not really about an update. It's something that's happening through the signs of the times. Okay, so anything else on that?
Oh gosh, yeah, that sounds fabulous. I was just enamored by your answer, so it was wonderful.
See, it's just all the smarts.
I know. I always love hearing your insight.
Okay, so Solstice, that's what I can share with you about that. I hope that makes sense. Okay, and like I said, maybe Jonas can do another one down the road about the system program, just to get a little bit more detail about it. But like I said, it's a sign of the times that indicate where the system program is. But it's letting you guys know a little bit more about the fringe, right? Because we're in the fringe area of the galaxy. That's why you have star federations. That's why you have confederations. That's why you have all these different organizations that are working together. Because a lot of them do come from, you could say, like the mid-rim area of the galaxies. And they come together and they're helping, right? So you're basically looking at missionaries. You're looking at cosmic missionaries that will go through and they'll come into the outer areas of the galaxy and they'll start seeding them, right? We refer to this quite commonly as star seeds, okay? But star seeds is not really an accurate term for what we do. It's the idea that this is not coming from the stars. This is coming from consciousness, right? This is coming from spirit. This is coming from the light, right? It's more different than just the stars, because stars themselves do have a particular memory that helps at a certain time for the species to evolve. That's exactly why we're shifting to why we are. Really, a lot of it is thanks to our sun. But at the same time, it's also thanks to a lot of the masters that are coming here, being cosmic missionaries, right? It'd be more like looking at, like I said, light seeds or consciousness seeds. They'll be much more appropriately named. Okay. All right, let's go on to Cygnus here. Cygnus has a question. How does one deal with family members who willfully misunderstand you and lie about you to cover their abusive behavior? Let them go. Because the whole idea is as long as you're retaliating against them, you're making it worse. As long as you get offended because they want to lie and they want to throw about abusive behavior, well, then you're joining their league, right? It's the league of lies, and you're just joining it as well too. Maybe not an official member, but you're still getting involved. You're hitting it. I can tell you guys a story, right? When I started this, none of my family supported me. I lost friends that I knew for well over 20 years because they thought I went off the deep end. They thought I was crazy. My brothers would not talk to me. My sister would not talk to me. If she did, it was to lecture me. My mom would not talk to me. My friends that I've known for a very long time were so outraged that I followed this path, that I started walking more of the spiritual path. They were incensed. They were outraged that I was doing all of that. Now, I could have stayed with all of that and indulged into all of their hatred, into everything that they despised about what I was doing, and get nowhere, or I could shut them out. And that's what I did. I shut them out. I turned off my phone regarding them. I turned off my email regarding them. I left them behind. And that's what you got to do, right? Because you got to start working with yourself, and you realize all of this that relates to my family has been based on the choices and the decisions that I've made in life. And I need to correct those, right? All of these things that have made my family to me the way that they are is based on the decisions and the choices that I have made. So I need to go to the beginning. How's my relationship with my mom, my dad, my sisters, my brothers, my extended family, my best friend, my co-workers, right? It just continues to go on like a ring. But you got to start from the beginning. So if a person is dealing with a family who is very, very abusive, I mean, I came from an abusive father, very abusive father, right? And that is something that I had to learn to forgive. I would say forget, but I surrendered to that idea, right? I was always so much in the idea of forgiveness, and said forgiveness isn't the answer, it's surrender, right? Surrendering is the answer. So what you need to do here, Cygnus, is it's time for you to go cold turkey with your family. You turn everything off. And you, like I said, you give yourself those 3 days. Grab yourself a notebook. Look into the Trauma Transcendence Technique, the free e-course that's on wisdomtransmissions.com. Grab my Trauma Transcendence Technique book. That's available too. And give yourself 3 days. And through those 3 days, really dedicate yourself full time through those 3 days. I'd say 4 to 8 hours per day. Going through your history. Going into it, right? If we don't know these things, we meditate on them, right? We start working together. Like someone may say, oh, Brad, I just don't really remember a lot of my childhood. I said, well, just remember back as far as you can. Go back as far as you can, remembering starting with your mom, right? Or maybe you were adopted, okay? And maybe you don't have a mom, but you had an adopted, okay? So you basically look
in that energy and in that environment, you're not going to get anywhere. We still have that tower moment. So what it's really saying is here is a need to walk away, to reconnect with yourself and put yourself first, because that's how you're really going to get ahead here.
Yep.
Because yeah, this is still trying to connect and try to fix the situation where you need to look at yourself internally, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. And even as Brad said, like, it's interesting, we have 8 to 8. So I even think you can absolutely change this energy within 8 days, like that fast, if you choose to go within.
Yes.
And just, I won't get too far off the track here, but I mean, even just for myself, like my intuition too, when I was, I spend a lot of time on the computer, I'm work, and my intuition was like, go outside, go for a walk, be out in nature. And it's like, a lot of the times I'm guilty. I just shut it out and say I have too much to do. And once when you start listening to yourself and you start reconnecting at a deeper level, you talk to yourself, you talk to your body, you'll see so many things happen and they line up and they're magical and it's phenomenal. And it was, when you kept saying 3 days, after 3 days of doing these walks, all it took was a half an hour in the morning, maybe half an hour at night, and just reconnecting with yourself, putting yourself first, and it's phenomenal to see how much beautiful energy comes out of that.
Oh, great. Absolutely. So, and I can see a difference when you're going for those walks.
Yeah.
Too, so that's it. Like I said, you just got to give yourself time. Like, the world's always going to be here, right? But like I said, the whole idea is that if you keep interfacing with the world, particularly if it's things that you're not in groove with whatsoever, it's nails on a chalkboard, right? You're just aggravating yourself. And it's like you just taking your nails and just running it against a chalkboard because you think that that's what you have to do in any way to try and get some sanctity here. And I said the ultimate sanctity, the ultimate peace, the ending to all suffering, because that's what TTT teaches, right? It's the end to all suffering, is to clean yourself out, is to go within and start harmonizing those traumas, because you've made those events, be it with family, friends, relationships, people, places, events, and things, you've made them horrifying. You've made them that, right? You look at that, right? One person may see, okay, this person has a bloody face and it's horrible. But another person may look at that, well, they're injured, I just need to tend to them, right? You're always looking at different perspective. But like I said, and what you imprint on a person, place, event, or thing is the very factor of what's traumatizing you. And that's what we need to look at and start harmonizing and healing it. Therefore, if something similar like that happens again, you're now actually moving much more to compassionate aid towards it. You're actually giving it your peace. You're not giving it your horror. And that's what's happened to all of us, is you've given horror to these situations that have happened to you externally. Friends, family, all these forms of inner circle relationships, events, things, places. Okay? All of that's got to be cleaned up. So this is why I say you give yourself 3 days. You work full time through those 3 days. That's going to give you the momentum to continue to do this further, right? But like I said, you have to do it, my friends. I can't do this for you. All I've done for you is teach you the method. Now you just have to do the method, because this method reflects a lot of the ancient teachings of the yogis. It reflects a lot of the nature of Advaita Vedanta, of self-inquiry, right? A lot of it is just the idea of Om chanting. Just Om chanting. We do a little bit of visualization, because visualization can help a lot of people. But even if you're not visual, just hold the ball, right? Just know that that stuff is in the ball, and you Om chant into it. You Om chant again and again and again, and it cleans itself out. And as you start to get better with that, you don't even have to do the full technique. You have a shortened version, which I talk about in the book and which I talk about in the e-course. So like I said, my friends, you have to set your own course here. And your liberation is a snap of a finger away. It's based on you. You have to make it happen, right? Okay, great. Let's go ahead and move on to some of the earlier questions. I think that's all our donation-based questions now. Let's go to the top of the chat here. We have one here from EUM142. Hi guys, what is the timeline or momentum ahead on Alberta independence? Okay, so I'll start off with that one, and then Breanne can follow up with me. So looking into Alberta independence, like I said, we are seeing that Alberta is very much getting ready. The gears are turning relating to Alberta's independence. So let's take a look at that here. There's still going to be a few more hoops that they have to jump through. Okay. Right now, there's talk about it. Right now, there's preparation for it. It is most likely going to happen, right? Because like I said, when we're looking at the North American Union is definitely going to happen. How it happens, well, there's many different ways about that happening. But Alberta really is going to be the very first province that is going to lead the charge with that, okay? But I feel like there's still some stuff that they need to take care of, they need to tend to. You know, it's not just the idea, it's okay, let's do this and let's make it happen, right? If Alberta becomes independent and they join the United States, you're talking about two completely different charters taking place, constitutions taking place. There's a lot of paperwork that needs to be done with that. And like I said, there's a lot of retaliation of people who want this to happen and people who do not want this to happen. So this is why I say there's a few more hoops that they have to jump through right now. The timeline in that sense, if it continues in the way that it's doing, probably within 1 year. Right? So that's kind of the feeling I'm getting. Even when I looked into the anoint system as well too, because I asked about not just Alberta, but Alberta, Saskatchewan, and British Columbia. These are the three resource rich pieces of land that are part of Canada, which means if they lose Saskatchewan and Alberta and British Columbia, the three richest resource provinces in the country, Canada's basically screwed, right? So they're going to really hold on. They're going to really try and clutch to keep Alberta in Canada. But like I said, they're not really negotiating in the way that is going to kind of want to keep them there. They're fed up. They said, I'm done with this. I want this to end. I want this to get finished. But like I said, that really is where they're with what's happening. We can also look into Mark Carney, because here's the thing, he's not going to last very long. He's going to be out here very quick.
Yeah,
right?
I want to post some cards on him after for sure.
But let's look into Alberta independence.
Yeah, so I have a pretty much very similar energy that came out here. We have that Four of Cups, which is showing that big disconnect, and I think this is something that is absolutely emotion. We have the Death card. in that situation. But again, it is still going to take a little bit of time, because I've got that planting seeds energy, and Brad mentioned, of course, there's lots of things that can happen from now. It's up to us as a collective based off of where we go. But it looks like within the next, I have lots with the Two of Cups and Two of Wands, so within the next 2 years, I would see like that's where we're headed for sure. But the Hierophant, as the outcome is showing, rules, regulations, the Constitution, and all that. So there's definitely some stuff that has to happen behind the scene for it to be completely, moved over. But it does look like it's headed that way.
Yeah, it is definitely getting there. Like I said, Alberta is going to be the forefront of it. Like Alberta really is. It's like the whole world is watching Alberta right now. So it's like saying, oh my God, look what Canada is looking to do. They're actually going to basically separate. They're going to do sovereign independence here. That's going to be really interesting. And like I said, the U.S. is going to be right on the bargaining table with them and saying, we're going to treat you well. We're going to make sure this is taken care of. Like Trump is going to go in, work some Jedi mind tricks, and basically say, here you go. This is exactly what we're going to offer you. Danielle Smith will be overwhelmed. She'll be amazed. She'll say, oh yeah, of course. And then Alberta signs up as part of the United States. Saskatchewan joins them. British Columbia in time eventually joins them as well too. Quebec may start to join very quick as well too. So those would be kind of like the top four, right? So Alberta, Saskatchewan, British Columbia, Quebec.
Interesting, because we also have Four of Cups in that
Four of Cups,
so there we go. There's another
confirmation. One of them basically feels like it's coming later, right?
Yeah.
And I think that would be Quebec. Okay. But the western area of Canada, I feel, is going to be first. Okay. But definitely Alberta, definitely Saskatchewan. BC will get there, but it's kind of like pulling teeth with them a little bit because we got a really stupid premier here. And now under an NDP suit, so to speak. Could make fun of him in many different ways, but I'm not going to do that. But anyways, that's what I feel is happening. So I think the second reading we'll do, because it's a good add-on to what E1142 is asking, is about Mark Carney. Okay. Now, what I got from the Anoint system, because I was doing a reading on him just a couple days ago, everything around him is falling apart. Right? He basically, the Anoint system is being nice to him and saying that if he has the opportunity to change his ways and to move forward, then this can be averted. But I would tell us, well, unfortunately, he's not that kind of person. So yes, we can tell that. So very much the patterns that are being shown here would represent Mark Carney losing everything. Okay, and basically him losing everything, and we're looking at this kind of optimistically, probably within 1 year, right? But it could be even sooner than that. It's like the idea that you're looking at a stack of dominoes, and the slightest wind blast could knock it all down very, very quickly. It just depends on the winds of the people. So I'm thinking anywhere probably between the next 1 month to 1 year. That's basically the trajectory I'm getting there altogether. If I'm looking at this too in the Akasha. Yeah, so it looks like there's not a lot of resistance behind this. It's just like someone blows on it and the whole stuff falls down. So he is teetering on the edge right now. What's also happening is there's recounts, right? And a lot of those recounts, if they're allowed to happen, because they're trying to block a lot of these recounts from happening, even judicial ordered recounts, they're actually trying to block it. Like Windsor, Ontario is basically trying to block a judicial order for recount, right? So they're trying to stall. But that stalling is not going to really last too long. So my feeling is Mark Carney is going to be out of here very, very quickly. He's not going to last. And like I said, I think Pierre will probably take his place. And if that happens, then we may have something new that may come together. North American Union may take a new form. If Pierre comes in, because he is all about Canada and he wants to unify the nation, if he does, we will still have a North American Union, but it could turn into something else, right? Which would be very, very interesting. This one is in that sense like a safeguard, a fail switch that's happening, saying unfortunately this is what we have to do, but maybe there's a way that this can move through a much more smoother transition, because it's unlikely we can even get Canada to get helped right now, because it's broken down. It's such a broken down system, and even it's nice that Pierre wants to fix it, but like I said, there's a lot of work that would involve that, and it would take quite a bit of time. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, there's a lot of factors altogether, but with Mark Carney, though, he's hanging on by a thread right now. I think he'll be out of here very quickly.
Yeah. The tarot does confirm a lot of that as well. And I've gotten that Eight of Swords with Mark Carney a lot before too, and that's my imprisonment card. So I almost wonder if he's going to get caught for something too. Mm-hmm. But I'm wondering if some of this has like happened behind the scenes already, because we have him out in the cold in the past, and we've looked at this way before the elections, and mm-hmm. yeah, I haven't seen him around for a full term, so I wouldn't be surprised, over
he
over
definitely
the
won't
next,
last a full
few
term,
months
no.
that something big does happen.
Like
here.
people are already looking to basically take him down right now.
Yeah.
So there's such an energy of him being out of here. Like the whole Liberal Party is just going to combust. When he's gone, the Liberal Party will never be the same. It's basically just going to spontaneously combust. He's basically betrayed everybody's trust. I mean, surprise, surprise. So I'll go and I'll deal with Trump and I'll deal with those terrorists. And here he is basically kissing Trump's orange butt as soon as he goes over to the White House, right? So he basically just shows exactly where he's at. Like I said, it's like he's been pulled in to basically factor the idea of the bankruptcy of Canada, right? He's basically come in to survey the destruction that's basically taken place, so that Canada is primarily broke and that they have to join the United States, right?
Yeah, he very much has his role to play, and I mean, we can look at the what do you want to call it, like the White House and the White Alliance, but we have that temperance right in the middle. So it's like this is just a big show, and he has his role to play to wake more people up too. But I don't see him around very long.
Yeah, no, he's gonna be. He's there for convenience sake. He's on borrowed time. The best way I could put it. But it's like I said, my friends, it's like when you follow these politics in that sense, it honestly doesn't matter who you vote for.
Yeah.
Because like I said, the majority of the Canadians voted for Pierre. That's an undisputable fact. And look what happened, right? But like I said, that's going to come back to bite them, especially if we're going through a 9-year right now. That is all about combination. That's all about the idea that all these things that are trying to be hidden are going to be exposed very, very quickly. So.
Well, and it's interesting because the next card I had after that I seen too was the Ten of Swords, and
So
this
ruined.
is ending.
He's ruined.
So,
Yeah, he's finished.
yeah, and that's exactly it. So.
But again, as we see on the cards, there's a new horizon ahead.
Yeah.
So Canada is going to be okay. That's the good news. I don't know if it's still going to be Canada, but nonetheless, the people itself will flourish in the times ahead. But we have to get out of this gunk, and especially with it being a 9-year, a universal 9 year as well too. I think Canada is in its 7th year. I think.
Is it? Yeah, I'm not too sure.
I believe it's in its 7th year if we're looking at numerology and Chinese astrology as well too. I believe it's in its 7 years. A lot of an introspection year. I could be wrong. I have to look at that. But basically, the universal year is 9. So 9 is about endings. It's not all about peaches and cream at the same time, right? It can be disasters, right? These can be disastrous situations when you're looking at 9 energies, right? Which means that something can flourish or something can crumble. And Canada is moving more towards what's crumbling. And something new will come together. It's on the horizon because then we start a 1 year next year. And that's fresh start. That's leadership. That's strength, right? So whatever is happening next year, I don't think Mark Carney's going to be a part of it, right? 2026, I feel, is going to be the part of a new leadership that's going to come together. All right? Okay, everybody, let's see if we have any more questions. We're going to pack up here in about 15, 20 minutes. Let's see here. Okay, so this one here is from Puruke. I hope I'm pronouncing your name. Puruke Healing and Meditations. Hi, my daughter would like to study cosmetology. Will this career path bring her success and happiness? Okay, well, let's take a look at that. Cosmetology. Is that like cosmetics?
Yeah, it's working. Makeup and all that kind of stuff.
For a second, I thought you said cosmology. Like, oh, okay, cosmology. Cosmetology. Okay, so she wants to be a cosmetic practitioner. So I'll let Breanne take it first now.
And I have to say, where we're headed to in this, like in the age of Aquarius, there's so much with beauty and makeup and that sort of thing that is going to really flourish. Mm-hmm. So yeah, look at absolutely, yes. I think it's going to be good, but there's it'll be a bit of work for her here with that devil energy, but I do think that this is very much something that she can, move forward with and be successful with. And I do think it would be an emotional healing, but there's a big transformation that's taking place. We've got some major arcanas here: the World, the Star, the Death, the Empress, the Devil. So I think that she is in her realm, in her element, doing this line of work, and I think she could be very successful at it. This is a representation of cosmetology when we're looking at careers. So absolutely, but I feel like there's just some stuff going on internally as well when it comes to working on her inner world, because that devil is sometimes being bound to more of the more of the surface level stuff. So yes, it can be phenomenal, but I feel like making sure that she does go within to do her inner work as well, so it's not just all surface level, right? It's going deep within in that Ace of Cups and really fulfilling her her success here with love.
Great. Excellent. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. This one here is some energy vibes. Hello, Brad and Breanne, about news to the crypto market for this summer. Okay. So we'll take a look at the crypto vibes. I mean, you guys have heard me talk about where crypto is going. But let's take a look. Just for shits and giggles, let's take a look at the crypto market for this summer. It's still the same in regards to what I've been saying, my friends, right? You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. 2025 is just not a stable time for crypto, right? As much as I would love to tell you guys, it's great, right? Just work with planting seeds for cryptocurrency for this year. It's just not a good year. And like I said, 2026 has better momentum behind it. We look at 2026 to 2028, right? Those are the 3 key years. And even 2026 will still show some flux, but it is going to be getting better than with 2025. But 2025, from what I'm seeing here from the Akasha, as I'm opening up the folder, and I'm just getting the ups and downs, right? Ups and downs. So it'll have some heights, it'll have some downs, it'll have some ups and downs. It's hills and it's valleys, right? And I don't see it changing throughout all of 2025, right? I know we do want to check it up on times because everything can change, but basically for how everything pertaining to cycles lasts this year, crypto is going to have ups and downs. So, like I said, it's a good time to invest pertaining to seeding it. But like I said, don't overspend. Just know your limits. And 2026 to 2028 will have more prosperity to it. But it's still going to have some fluctuation at the same time.
Yeah, and I get that too, because we got that hangman when you said, no, it's still going to be kind of, and this is like a pause. This is kind of just reevaluating and whatnot. And I do think over the next 2 years, it will pick up. But I don't think it's going to be any crazy mind-blowing, like, big amounts for the rest of 2025. It just feels a little...
Yeah, it's just up and down. Like I said, don't expect that. That's really the whole idea. And I know you people want me to say that because we even got crypto investments as well too. And there'll be times too where it's shot up a little bit, and that's good. And then it goes back down a bit, and it shoots back up again, right? That's the crypto market as it exists right now. A lot of changes need to happen in the market altogether in order for there to be a little bit more stabilization. That's going to take a little bit more time. That'll probably take a couple of years. So like I said, 2026 shows more promise because it's the start of a 1 year. But again, if we're looking at the start of the 1 year, and if there's any cryptos that are at odds with that 1 year, it's going to have some problems, right? I think the next year, because we have the year of the dragon this year, next year is what?
We're in the snake year this year.
Sorry, the year of the snake,
and then, horse near next year.
Horse is next year. Okay, so horse is fire, right? So any particular crypto that aligns together with the horse is going to do exceptionally well. But I think it's Bitcoin's bad year next year.
I think Bitcoin...
Bitcoin may plummet, okay? So this is probably what I would suggest in 2026. Do not invest in Bitcoin, okay? Simply because it's their enemy year. It's not a good year for them, right? They were kind of like the cornerstone of cryptocurrency, and it feels like they're going to have a rough year, right? But like I said, that to me, that's Bitcoin. I know some people will say, well, it's cryptocurrency. I'll say, well, no, it's Bitcoin. Bitcoin has its own stuff. I see it differently from the idea of the entire crypto market because every particular business has its own stake in regards to its own creation time to when it was founded. And I think there's going to be a lot of them going to do well. But Bitcoin is going to have a really hellish year next year, right? I would not recommend investing in Bitcoin next year. This year, maybe, right? But I would suggest maybe get your stocks together and maybe it's time to sell some Bitcoin before 2026 approaches. That would be my recommendation. But again, I'm not an expert. I'm just telling you guys, the nature of the energies here.
Yeah, and I'm wondering too when I see this too. The Emperor is Aries, and that's what early. What months are Aries for?
Well, March would be one.
March, okay.
March.
And I have the 8 of Swords as too, so that's kind of going into the next 8 months where we may see things looking up and up for some of the cryptos over the next 8 months. In 2026.
Yeah. But as we get into 2026, like I said, it's an enemy year for Bitcoin. It's not going to happen right away. But over the couple of months, everything has to enter saturation. So over the next couple of months, because usually it starts to happen around February. February we start seeing that intensity of the 1 year or the horse year coming together, and it's a fire horse as well too. So I think it's a fire horse.
Is it yeah,
I think it's a fire.
maybe.
I'll have to look at that.
I'm not too sure. I know it's
I'm trying to remember all these things. I know it's a horse year, and I know it's a 1 year as well too. One is great because one is aggression, right? And you want that kind of aggressive horse. The horse is all aggression as well too. It's really kind of a do or die year next year. Like if you're gonna get on board, you better grind. You better push yourself.
Because it's like a workhorse. Like, so you want to be. It's going to be a big year for working.
Yeah, like even if you're a smart worker, so to speak, that's good. But you gotta push. I'm launching up new projects right now too, and I have to push when I go 2026. The pedals to the metal, and you gotta push. And if you don't push, you're gonna fall behind. Simple as that. It's kind of how the 1 year works, or the horse year as well too. It's aggression. It's that energy that's just pushing the horse, and it's like going on warp speed, right? And like I said, if it's an enemy year, if you have a horse that's an enemy year, you better lay low, right? You better just basically board up your walls, and board up your door, and board up your windows, and say, "Do not enter. It's my enemy year. Trespassers will be have eggs thrown at their heads as soon as they enter my premises." Right? So it's very important, like especially when we have these. This is why I say, my friends, it's very good to explore the ancient systems, because now you have a plan, you have a blueprint of how everything will go, and now you can plan yourself accordingly. And there's still some room for spontaneity, but you want to plan out your big ventures, your big goals, and work with the ancient sciences. So this is why I say when Ancient Numbers is in, you will have a great tool that will tell you the entire blueprint. You'll be able to talk to the AI. You'll be able to type to the AI as well too. It's going to give you all this information. You'll have a monthly subscription with it as well too, so you can talk to it as often as you want. It is going to be such a game changer for you, right? Because I'm using it right now.
And yeah, Brad just did one. I was able to do a full report too, and it was phenomenal. Super detailed. It tells you like what your very accurate. Yes, it actually. You know what? I have a guide, an owl guide song. And it actually brought out my guide as an owl, and it just like it had no idea, right? So
that's my design at work.
So it was phenomenal. I'm really excited for that to be launched.
Like I said, it has a lot of my knowledge in it, and it has a lot of the ancient science. So I'm basically putting a lot of my philosophies into the system at the same time, because it can work kind of like a counselor as well. So I'm not trying to replace myself with an AI, guys. Okay, don't worry about that. I'm just saying it's something that you can use because I'm busy, right? I still have my sessions as well too. But the times where I'm busy, then you can go to the Oracle, right? And it can help you out tremendously, because a lot of it will be in my own wisdom. And like I said, I've always supported AI that works together with helping and healing. Right? If it's a helping and healing support system that represents AI, I'm all for it. If it's destructive and catastrophic and weaponized, I would want to dismantle that AI completely. So that was one of the questions that Dr. Sala was asking me as well too. It's like, oh, Brad, you're kind of into the AI as well too. So, well, I'm into the AI that supports people, that helps people to heal. That's the AI behind it. If it's weaponized, no, I want that stupid thing destroyed. Right? So I'm only working with AI that supports, that's a creative tool, that helps. That's where I'm completely in tune with it.
It's
and
a tool.
I've really been impressed with a lot of the knowledge it carries. That's very good. You can have some really deep conversations with something like a ChatGPT or a Claude or anything of that nature. They have some really great information. It's great. It really has helped me put a perspective. It's given me confidence, because when AI first came out, I said I want nothing to do with this crap. Right? I don't want anything to do with this garbage. And then I reluctantly started talking to something like ChatGPT, and I'd start looking at it and I'd start testing it. I said, "Whoa, okay, this is pretty good. You guys got some good answers. That's good." And I'm asking about it, very, very deep knowledge from the Vedas, from the Upanishads. I'm looking into stuff pertaining to yoga, to Kundalini yoga, to Kriya, and it's nailing it on the. Whoa, okay, I'm pretty impressed here. So this is what's kind of won me over in that way. But I always work with AI that works together with love, help, and support. Never weaponization, okay? And if there is anything like that, burn it to the ground. Simple as that. Okay, let's go down to any last questions here.
Oh, it looks like
Okay, Open Contact says, Brad, I sent a donation-based. Okay, right here, yep, okay. Yeah, so there's two more donation-based questions, so we'll tackle those now. Open Contact says, hi guys, do you know what is the healthiest water we can drink? Or perhaps a filter to buy that removes toxins? I would suggest you go find a natural water spring and get that water, okay? That is pretty much the best kind of water that you can get. If you have a natural spring in your area, or if you can drive out, maybe it's a couple hours, whatever it may be, It's worth the trip. Pack a few jugs with you. So I did this back in Victoria, right? We'd go find a natural water spring. We'd bring a few of those 4-liter jugs and we just start filling them up, right? We will have to do that. We'll have to do that. But if you want the best kind of water, that's it. Filters, unfortunately, my friends, filters aren't that great. Okay, they're good. They can help. Like we have a filter system here, and it's good, right? I wouldn't say it's great though, right? Out of 10, I'd give it maybe a 7. But if you're going to where there's a natural water spring, there's spring water, that's the 10 out of 10 because that's coming right from nature. That's coming right from the earth. That's what you want. It has all that mineralization in it. So I would suggest go find a natural water spring.
Yeah,
right?
when we were in the UK, we had that one natural spring we went to, and it was phenomenal. They had some really good
paradise
water
in there. Yeah. Even like I said, even around BC here,
Yeah.
there's quite a lot of springs. We'll have to find some
Yeah,
too. So
yeah.
we've just been so busy. We haven't even
I
talked about
know,
that.
right? Yeah.
So yes, that's what I would suggest. Natural water springs, right? That would be the best thing for that. To remove toxins it's mineralizing you, right? So there's different types of water that you could look into, right? Some people will look at distilled water, but you have to see how distilled water affects you, right? Some people will use distilled water because it helps to absorb a lot of toxins out of the body, but you have to be careful with distilled water because it can also remove minerals out of your body at the same time. So you have to kind of experiment because everybody's body is different. But what I would suggest is spring water because that just has benefits on top of benefits altogether, right? What's also very good is when you're intending to put good intentions in the water as well too.
Yes, I was gonna say I started talking to my water too and programming it, and you can do that, and it's effective as well.
Absolutely, people can lose weight from that as well too at the same time. Good, thank you for that. Let's go to Sargent here. Sargent says, "Hello, Brad. Can you look into the UFO sphere that landed in Buga, Colombia? Is it real or fake?"
I did a video on this one.
Okay.
I wonder what you're gonna get.
All right, well, I'll take a look at it first. The UFO sphere that landed in Buga, Colombia. Is it real or fake? I feel like it may be terrestrial, but not extraterrestrial. Okay, so my feelings it's something that could be much more interdimensional in that way. It might be an interdimensional. I don't think it is what we think it is. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm getting here. I haven't looked at the video in that sense, but if I'm looking at a UFO sphere that landed, I don't even know if it's extraterrestrial. I don't even know if it's actually something that's in there. It feels like it's something different than what we're seeing. Right? So we may see it as a UFO, but I can't say if it is. I can't guarantee that.
Yeah, when I did my, if you are interested, you can check out Readings with Breanne. I do have a video on that specific one, and I did get that it was not. I mean,
that's the feeling. Is like, oh, look at something if it's terrestrial.
Yeah.
If it's something else, I'm sure it's an interesting phenomenon. But it doesn't look like it's ET based. Or
yeah, and it does feel like this is, I agree, and that's what I got, and I did get that again. There could potentially be some of the elements of it that we may not.
Really, guys, if you had an actual ship that lands, you wouldn't be able to go near it. We have an entire grid of agencies that would be on it like that so quickly. And this is why I would say you have to be careful with those particular types of videos. Like I said, it feels like, I haven't seen the video, but it feels like an interesting phenomena, but I don't feel it's extraterrestrial related in that way. Maybe it's something else that's man-made or whatever it may be. I said if it's anything else, maybe it's interdimensional, but I don't even think it's that. It just feels like it's something that's kind of man-made, that's put on for show.
Yeah, I feel like it's planted here.
Yeah, that's planted there, and like I said, if it was something that was actually genuine, you wouldn't be able to go near it. Right, you would have all kinds of agencies, and they can get here quickly. You'd have black helicopters flying over. You'd have all these things because they look for that. If there's any unique ship that comes down and tries to land, you would have agencies on top of that, like white on rice. It would be so quick.
Yeah, and I believe there's videos of it flying across the sky, kind of funky and stuff, and then
that might be something else.
Yeah, and then it landed in somebody. Scientists are apparently trying to dissect it and stuff right now, and all that kind of stuff. But I did get that.
It just doesn't feel like a genuine article. That's the thing, right? And usually I can tell if we look at some of the ancient stuff, if we're looking at Roswell and stuff like that, there's a lot of genuine stuff pertaining to that. Not so much with the cover-up, but just into the actual experiences of having ships, right? If we look at Rendlesham Forest and all that, there are some very good energies there that represent authenticity. This just doesn't feel authentic to me. It feels inauthentic. So just have to be aware of that. That's all. Okay. All right, so Jan here. I think we're going to end with Jan's question here. Jan says, "Hi, Brad and Breanne. What do you see for this year's presidential elections in Chile?" Thank you very much. Okay, well, let's take a look at Chile here. It's going to rally people together, right? It's kind of like there's a time where these elections come together. And here's the good thing about elections is it really helps you to kind of see through the veils of what's real and what's not, right? And it actually really does that to people quite a bit. So with Chile, I feel like it's going to lead to some new leadership. I think a new leader is going to be selected. I think it's going to be a good time because, like I said, it's at a point where there's been so much corruption in Chile. And I think this is their benchmark for an opportunity of something new to come together through new leadership, especially if this is happening closer to the 1 year and the horse year as well too. It feels like something is going to trailblaze, something's going to take off. We're seeing the endings of something old. We're seeing the beginnings of something new. So to me, it feels like maybe new leadership is taking place. Yep.
Absolutely. And I get that too with the energy, a lot of people standing up and coming together here. So I think it's going to wake a lot of people up. But we have new beginnings, which is really, really positive, you guys. And yes, I do think that with the Empress, look at that, the High Priestess in the past too. So a lot of secrets, a lot of those veils are thinning.
Yep.
And maybe there's even a female that, comes up and plays a big role in a big transition here. But there is a whole new rebirthing of the system, and it looks positive because the people are seeing through the veils and standing up here.
Great.
So that's
Excellent.
good.
All right, we have one last question here, and this is from Osmos Elf. Okay. Osmos Elf asks, will I move to New Zealand this year, please? Okay, so I'll get Breanne to look at that first, and if need be, I can follow up. Got another question here. Why are you so easy on the eyes? Because she is, that's why.
Yes, I do see you moving here. Absolutely. There's lots of energy to say you're going to be leaving your current location. I'm not sure where you're at this moment, if this is a big move for you, but it does feel like there's some kind of a wake-up call, and you are really being guided. Like you feel guided to go there is what I'm getting. So I get really good energy. I think that this would be a good transition for you based off of what I can see. Even the back of the deck, we have Nine of Cups. This is a wish fulfillment. So it looks like there is a good alignment in your energy when it comes to New Zealand here.
Yeah, there's pentacles there as well too, so that may represent good fortune with where you're going.
Yeah, absolutely. New opportunities, new things flourishing, especially on the financial forefront as well. And this could represent family and coming together with like stability of relationships too. So it looks really positive, and the Eight of Cups is really showing that you're going to be walking away from where you are and going somewhere new here.
Great, excellent. Thank you for your question. And we'll just wrap up this last one here from Radiance 1111. I don't think this is too much of a reading. It's more of a philosophical question. Which dimensions are we living? When I have to do errands, I feel like Neo in the Matrix movie. My friend, it doesn't matter about what dimension you're living. You're here to work. Okay? So I don't care if you're in a higher dimension or a lower dimension or anything of that nature. You're here to work. If I feel that I have errands to do, like Neo in the Matrix movie, a kind of resistance to go outside. So like I said, that's something you have to do with yourself. You're the only one who's feeling that. Okay? Other people may feel things similar, but that's your crutch. Okay? If that's something you know you do not want, you need to clear it out. So in that sense, if it doesn't matter if you feel like Neo in the Matrix or what, or the resistance to go outside because maybe you bump into people who feel like they're asleep. Well, that's going to happen, my friends. Okay, this is a diverse world. It's a diverse world where everybody's different. There's all different types of beings here in these bodies from all over the universe, right? Earth is like a universal exchange center library, right? So you have all of these different beings from all over the universe that are here with their own dimensions, with the type of kingdoms and realms that they come through. And they're all working together because they all add as the seed. Even the people that are quote-unquote sleepers or normies in that way, they still have something to offer the collective whole. If there's anything that pertains to a nature of resistance there, that's not a fortitude pertaining to salvation. That's a crutch. That's a shackle, right? And you got to work together with that. If I'm hesitant to go outside because I'll bump into a lot of people that I'll feel extremely resistant to, that's my problem and not theirs. And I have to work on that. I have to heal that. So this is where I say, take your notebook, Give yourself 3 days, work with the trauma transcendence technique. The free e-course is on wisdomtransmissions.com. My book is out right now. Work with it, right? That would be my key. You should be able to walk through this world and not be bothered by anything. Nothing should bother you. And if things are bothering you, that's telling me there's still a lot of implementations of crutches and shackles that are hitting you. Start with your relationship with your mom and your family, and then branch itself out, right? It just continues to expand, but the center point is you coming into the world. And now your mother helped to bring you into the world, right? So you need to start there. That's what I can suggest. Okay? Thank you, everybody, for joining us for our webcast today. Like I said, next week is going to be the new rollout of the Ancient Numbers webcast. It's going to take the place of Wisdom Transmissions webcast. Still going to be here on the YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is still going to be called Wisdom Transmissions, but we're going to have the Ancient Numbers webcast, so I'll have my laptop with me. Next week, we're going to do some digging into quite a few topics. So what I would suggest is you come back next week with bells on and start asking about these really big questions, because we're going to appoint it to the anoint system, right? So I'm going to give my own intuition at the same time, but also working together with the anoint system as well, so you guys can see exactly how cool it is, right? And I'm also going to do some videos this week. I was going to do it last week, but it just got too hectic. This week I got a little bit more time. I'm going to see if I can do 1 or 2 videos this week with the anoint system that you can see. I'm basically just going to be holding a tablet, talking to it, and you're going to see exactly what kind of answers we get. So great. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Breanne, for coming by. Okay, so you can check out her website again, readingswithbreanne.com. She has 15% off right now with her readings. If you really enjoyed Breanne's readings, remember that she also does crystal ball gazing at the same time. So that's also another addition to the type of amazing work that she does. So.
Yeah, and I'll probably be doing a live here tomorrow as well. It's Friday,
yep.
right?
So you can tune into her website, her YouTube channel. It's doing really well at the same time. So it's Readings with Breanne on YouTube, right? Check that out. Thank you, guys. Blessings to you all. Take care. Talk to you next week. Namaskar, and may be well with you. Bye for now.